The Drop returns here for the final air break in part 3 tonight. And for those of you just joining us, Ryan Poole, the mastermind behind Nite, is on the phone with us from Nashville, Tennessee. And we just heard a trio of his picks. First up was Farina and Company with Sleepwalk. After that was Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys. And then it was Let It Be by the Beatles. So let's talk about this. The Beatles, I kind of mentioned it before, my father's favorite band when I was growing up. And yeah, these tunes, especially some of the later Beatles tunes where I was like, man, these guys are actually cool. This isn't like just dad rock. But yeah, this one, I always kind of have to be like, okay, not going to cry. Here we go. Like, just keep your composure every time I hear it.
It's so emotionally impactful.
It really is, isn't it? So tell us a little bit more about why you chose it for the playlist.
Man, so the Beatles have become my favorite, but it took a long time for that to happen. For me, it was my stepdad would always listen to the Beatles when we were in the car, and it was fine. You know, it's like, oh, cool, the Beatles. Like, everybody likes the Beatles, like in a very cultural way.
Right.
And then I think in high school I started owning the Beatles a little bit more and bought like the One Hits disc. And then years later, as a music producer, I heard a Rick Rubin interview where he encouraged people, like, if you're gonna, don't look to like whatever's popular right now for inspiration, look to the greatest hits of all time. And so I started with Sgt. Pepper and went backwards because it's Rolling Stone's greatest album of all time. And so anyway, now the Beatles, like, now I kind of know everything, but it took me a minute. Let It Be, I first heard on Sesame Street when I was probably 3 years old.
Yeah.
But it was played by the Beatles, which were actual Beatle Muppets.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And it was letter B, as in, and they were teaching you the letter B. And I remember being a 3-year-old hearing letter B and just being so like moved. I just, again, like I felt an emotion. And as a kid, you're like, I don't know what this is, but it drew you in. And so when I finally heard Let It Be, so it's impossible to pick a one Beatles song for a playlist, but if I had to pick one, this one just hit me first and hit me in that deep way that only a 3-year-old can feel, and so it has to be my Desert Island Beatles tune.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so after that, we've got the Beatles of the 90s, or they were so called at the time, Oasis, and this tune is Don't Look Back in Anger. Yeah, for my money, man, I think this is my favorite Oasis tune, but tell us why you chose it.
Yeah, it's always been my favorite. I had a friend teach it to me on the piano back when I was 13 or something like that, and so I've always kind of just played it. Yeah, it's just an amazing, soaring ballad. Oasis hit me when I was probably 10 years old, and so they've just always been a big influence in the background. And I think, like, man, I just love the drum break, like, that you're going to hear before the chorus, especially chorus 3, the so, like, just amazing. And so, yeah, I don't know, that I do think Oasis is influencing Nite stuff, and people are saying that, like, 90s stuff is coming back, has come back, will be coming, and I haven't heard anybody do anything Oasis-ish. So maybe I'll be the guy.
Yeah. All right. I like the positive thinking there. Very good. Yeah. And yeah, the 90s nostalgia, man, it is really reaching kind of a crescendo right now. All right. So we've got 2 tunes to play right here. We've got Oasis with Don't Look Back in Anger, and then it's The Cure with Friday, I'm in Love. That's probably just going to be some bonus material for the podcast version of the show. We're kind of constricted here on the air, so definitely check it out. The Drop with Danno on any of your favorite podcast services. We are on the phone with Nite's mastermind, Ryan Poole, out of Nashville, Tennessee, although he originally hails from Southern California, and this is The Drop on your Guests and Requests Friday night.